With Hamas reporting 46 Palestinian deaths following 3 days of deadly fighting between Israel and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, including 15 children, the Palestinians are blaming Israel for the casualties. But Israel is blaming Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Today, 3 more Palestinians were killed in the city of Nablus in West Bank. This includes an Al-Aqsa Brigade's commander. Our correspondent Jody Cohen investigates.
Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid has suggested that every civilian killed in the fighting is a tragedy, but said that most of the civilian deaths were caused by Islamic Jihad misfire and won't apologize for protecting Israel's citizens.
The Israeli government has maintained its forceful policy of zero tolerance for terrorism. Anyone who tries to harm us will pay with their life. Throughout the operation, special efforts were made to prevent harm to civilians. The State of Israel will not apologize for using force to protect its civilians, but the death of innocent civilians, especially children, is heartbreaking.
But what does Israel's Arab population, which is often caught in the middle when there is a conflict, think of the recent flare-up? I spoke exclusively with Yusuf Haddad, founder and CEO of Together Vouch for Each Other, a group that lobbies for greater integration and representation of Arabs in Israeli society. Some Arab Israelis actually identify as Palestinian and may well have family in Gaza. From the conversations you've been having with people over the past few days, what's the general feeling about the conflict that's taken place?
Yeah, so indeed, some of the Israeli Arabs feel that way, but the vast majority is not like this. And in fact, the vast majority of the Israeli Arabs, they don't want this. They don't want this conflict because they know that innocent people are, been dying in those conflicts. But the simple thing is that Israel is trying to protect its citizens, both the Arabs and the Jews. And at the same time, the Islamic Jihad and Hamas, they're not even protecting their own citizens. They're killing their own people in Gaza. And this is something that the Israeli Arabs acknowledge. We only can hope that this conflict will not, continue in the future and more innocent life will be hurt. We don't want that. In
his speech on Monday night, Prime Minister Lapid addressed the Gazan people directly and talked about there could be another way and they could follow the path of the Abraham Accords. How likely do you think that is to happen?
Well, first of all, in that matter, Lapid is correct. Gaza could be a little Singapore. Just think about what an amazing city could Gaza be if they invest all the hundreds of millions instead of building terror tunnels and rockets into their own people and building a metro and building skyrocket buildings and the parks. That could be an amazing thing. And you know what? We've seen the Abraham Accords, what they've been doing in Dubai and Bahrain and Morocco. Why couldn't it be here? It's very simple. If we search for peace, it could happen. The only one thing they need to do is, first of all, recognize Israel as a state. Then from there, we can move on.
Are you optimistic for the future of Israeli-Palestinian relations and also intra-community relations within Israel?
All right, so let's break down to 2. First of all, we need to understand that the Israeli Arab here in Israel need to be fully integrated in the Israeli society. Once we do that, which brings me to the second answer, we can actually end the conflict. I really truly believe that we are the one to be responsible for that. Bridging gaps between Jews and Arabs, bringing the Arab society closer to the Israeli society, and at the end of it, we're the one to end that conflict, 100%.
Yusuf Haddad, thank you for your insights and your time, and let's hope that comes true. This is Jody Cohen for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.